First tonight on Our News Weekend, a 20-year-old father of one is gunned down in front of his 4-year-old daughter early this morning. The heartless murder caught on camera. Plus, 2 union leaders calling out government to do more as nearly 500 retired civil servants have been re-engaged. They're asking, what about those already owed compensation packages? And later, Cable Bahamas group of companies employees up before dawn this morning for the annual Fun, Run, Walk, and Push Health Initiative. Our Danielle Miller has the recap of all of the hardware won by the Our News team. These stories and so much more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. CCTV footage of a brazen early morning shooting sending chills throughout the community, leaving many to cry out that enough is enough. Police are tonight investigating the country's latest homicide caught on camera. Police tell us they were alerted to a shooting incident in the Dunmore Street area shortly after 7:30 a.m. thanks to shot spotter technology. Chief Superintendent of Police Shira King tells us what officers met on scene.
They discovered an adult male with multiple gunshot wounds about the body. What we know, preliminary reports indicates that the victim was at a local establishment when a light-colored Japanese vehicle passed, pulled up, male occupants exited the vehicle and opened fire on the vehicle, on the victim, shooting him fatally. A child was in the vehicle along with a female. However, they were not injured in this matter.
Now, in the disturbing video, multiple men are observed firing countless rounds of gunshots into the black vehicle. In a matter of seconds, the victim slumps out of the front seat as a small child runs from the back seat. Now, the victim's father on scene confirming to Our News that the child is the 4-year-old daughter of his son, 20-year-old Quintero Arnett. Arnett was a boat captain and mechanic. A local minister, Arlene Anderson, speaking to Arnett's character and lifestyle, calling his death a sad situation.
Very focused young man. He's the father of 1 daughter. Very much entrepreneurship. His father has a business. His mother has a business. His love was boats and vehicles, and that's what he did. His daughter was his heart, his parents, his family on the whole. You see his grandfather is out here as well, and so those who you see flocking, it's his village. He had a good village. He was a good guy, and he really did not deserve to die the way that he died.
Now, police are appealing to anyone who may have any information that can assist with advancing this matter to contact 919-911 CID at 502-9991 2 or 3 or Crime Stoppers. Meantime, the leaders of 2 unions are calling government out, particularly after nearly 500 public service workers were re-engaged. It comes at a time when teachers, nurses, and other public workers are owed back pay, along with outstanding promotions. The union leaders say in light of the recent developments this week, government must look at those who really need the funds and do more for their members. Joshua Williams has more on their concerns.
Belinda Wilson, president of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress and Bahamas Union of Teachers, says there are important issues that are still outstanding on the table across the Bahamian landscape. Her comments come after Labour and Public Services Minister Pia Glover-Roll announced during Wednesday's parliamentary question and answer time that 491 retired officers, representing 1.9% of the public workforce, have been rehired as consultants. Glover-Roll citing poor succession planning as an explanation for the re-engagement, saying retired officers will help reform the public service. While Wilson addressed that issue earlier this week, she says there is another matter that needs urgent attention.
Sadly, hundreds of teachers who have already worked are still awaiting salary increases, increments, responsibility allowances, rental allowance increases, and much, much more. Surely this cannot be fair. In fact, it is egregious.
She also claims a memo was sent by Financial Secretary Simon Wilson earlier this year, claiming that public servants owed money in excess of 5 years will not get paid. Wilson now calling on the Prime Minister to resolve this matter.
We're still awaiting a response from you on this matter, sir. It is disgraceful that hard-working public servants will not be paid for work they have already done. But the chosen few can enjoy gratuities, pensions, and a gussie contract.
I also spoke to Bahamas Public Services Union President Kimsley Ferguson, who says the poor line of communication by Wilson, coupled with the apparent silence of the Prime Minister, does not sit well with taxpayers and public servants.
What stands out about the communication is the Financial Secretary is giving instructions to the most senior public servant, which is the Cabinet Secretary. Again, that's cause for concern. And in the midst of all of this, the Minister of Finance is quiet. The Chief Officer of the Finances of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is saying nothing.
As to whether or not there will be any industrial action by these unions, we'll have to wait and see. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks so much for that, Josh. The Bahamas will host the Caribbean Association of National Telecommunication Organizations General Show this coming July. It's the 40th year for the international event. And according to Live CEO and newly appointed Canto Director John Gomez, it's the first time in years since the event was held in the Caribbean. Gomez telling us it will be an opportunity for regional telecommunication giants to display their offerings.
In that show, they are not just persons or representatives from the industry in the Caribbean, but also across the world as well. And so this is where you get different vendors and innovators come to showcase their solutions, their technologies, their equipment, what have you. And so we are going to be hosting that here in the Bahamas. And so it's going to be we're going to see a flood of persons come, and this is when we're going to talk about ICT solutions and technology and 5G and everything else at that point.
The event will be a much-needed boost for tourism as it puts the Bahamas at the center point for the global industry. Canto is a non-profit organization representing 110 companies across 33 Caribbean countries. And with the recent appointment of Live CEO John Gomez to the board, the Bahamas now has a seat at the table to help steer regional telecoms policies and improve technology that impacts our everyday lives. It also provides a platform for Caribbean telecommunications companies to collaborate on common challenges. But why is it so important for the Bahamas to have a voice? It's a question we put to Gomez.
Anyone who's in the industry, I encourage you to come on by and to participate in that, because this is when you're going to get to hear so much more exciting stuff about what's happening, not just currently, but the future that's coming down the pipeline as well.
All right, sounds exciting. Well, from humble beginnings to NASA, Aisha Bowe has become a trailblazer in the world of aerospace engineering. As the first Bahamian woman set to go to space, Bowe is not only shattering barriers for women and Bahamians, but also bringing the promise of space tourism and STEM opportunities to the country's shorelines. In this report, she shares her story with our Delvardo Emmanuel in hopes of inspiring the next generation to dream big and reach for the stars.
I was going to become a rocket scientist. When I said that, people laughed, and I became determined. I became determined to do the thing that seemed impossible.
Aisha Bowe's journey to becoming a rocket scientist started with what many would have dubbed an impossible dream. From community college to NASA, she shattered many barriers, and now Bowe is poised to make history as the first Bahamian woman in space.
I'll be honest, I never thought that I would be here. I wasn't someone who grew up wanting to go into STEM or engineering. I didn't even know what those words were. It wasn't until I was in community college that I decided that I was going to dream, and I was going to have the impossible dream.
Her hard work led to groundbreaking projects with NASA and SpaceX, but it's a vision for the Bahamas that truly sets her apart. One of those visions coming to life this week with the historic first ever SpaceX rocket booster landing in Bahamian waters.
When I went to NASA, my very first project was working on a startup at the time called SpaceX. NASA and SpaceX had a partnership that grew into the multi-billion-dollar work you see today. And as having a front row seat to that, I saw the economic potential, I saw the benefit, and I always wondered how I could bring a piece of that back home.
And Aisha's work doesn't stop at inspiring youth. She's also helping the Bahamas embrace space tourism, bringing a new industry to the islands.
It takes all kinds of people. We need machinists, we need lawyers, we even need doctors, right? There's a whole realm of individual and specialties that are needed in order to make this industry work.
Through her journey, Bo is showing the next generation that dreams are within reach, and the sky is just the beginning. Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
All right, thanks so much, Delvardo. The Davis administration making a $150,000 donation to the Bahamas Fly Fishing Association. This just 1 year after pledging $200,000 in support last year. An additional $50,000 investment will be made to the Small Business Development Center to further support the industry. Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister Jomo Campbell telling us the investment demonstrates the government's commitment to and belief in the industry.
This funding is not just a financial contribution. It is a small showing of our belief in the value of this industry and towards the men and women who have built and continue to sustain it.
Association President Prescott Smith says the investment signaled a long journey involving stakeholders from all of the major islands. He was surrounded by other association members from various islands.
This is an investment in Bahamian ownership when it comes to our natural resources. God has blessed us with the largest flats fishery in the world. So this issue, investing in the association and this industry, is important to every single Bahamian.
All right, well, when Our News Weekend comes back from the break, a life gone too soon. Real estate agents and loved ones reflecting on the life of Nikolai Sarles. This after the real estate agent's body was discovered near Lucayan National Park earlier this week. Those heartfelt condolences still to come right after this break.
When we gather big. When our audience expects more, deserves more, we show up even bigger. And when it's showtime, we deliver the greatest show on earth. Because our TV is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Condolences are pouring in tonight over the tragic death of a well-known and deeply loved real estate agent over in Grand Bahama. The body of 36-year-old Nikolai Sarles was discovered with a gunshot wound Tuesday evening off Grand Bahama Highway. Many in the close-knit community still in shock and disbelief.
He's going to be missed by so many people, including myself. No one was expecting this really, and it still doesn't really feel real. He was loved by so many. He was legit a really good guy.
Nikolai, son of prominent real estate agent Jamie Sarles, wasting no time creating his own legacy in the industry.
It was a powerhouse to work with, to see him blossom, to achieve what he has achieved in such a short time. It takes a very special person. He was very happy, he was very serious at the same time, he was full of advice if needed. He handled little emergencies we had with such vigor and quickness. He was just a joy to work with.
Attorney Adam Cafferata says they spoke on a daily basis, not only about business, but also about the future of the island.
In those conversations that I had with him, I'm obviously going to really miss, because there's not many that had the positive attitude and the positive feelings about the future of Freeport. He really really pushed and really expected the place to turn around. And he was going to be a great part of that turnaround because, without him, the real estate market, it's going to slow down immensely. And a lot of my income really derived from work that Nikolai referred to me.
The husband and father of one was also very active within his community, from philanthropy to fishing to basketball.
He was our other brother. We all look at one another. Like you said, we have arguments on the court, but when the game over, that's it. You may be pissed off at me if something happened in the court, and then I drive down the road, meet you, break down ice, the same fella got to pick you up and make sure you're home.
Nikolai was a beautiful soul. To know him is to love him. I mean, someone who loved basketball, fishing, family, friends, just an all-around good guy. And outside of the real estate community, outside of our close friends community, we're gonna miss him very, very much.
All right, well, still to come on Our News Weekend, it was a fun run, walk, or push kind of morning for the Cable Bahamas group of company. We'll tell you all about our annual healthy initiative. But first,
we check in with the National Youth Regatta and we deliver you the latest hoops updates. Our sports weekend is up next.
When the Bahamas took center stage at World Expo in Dubai 2022, we were there as thousands got up close and personal with our story, like the unprecedented devastation of Hurricane Dorian put center stage at Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda. We were there as the Prime Minister urged immediate action on climate change, an issue brought up months later at the historic 50th CARICOM meeting in the Bahamas. Because our news is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Good evening, welcome to our sports weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. The Sir Durwood Knowles National Youth Regatta is happening this weekend at Montague Beach, right here in New Providence. Our nation's top young sailors get to see who's the fastest in the water. Over 200 sailors from across the Bahamas are competing in a 3-day event. While the official results are being tabulated, what we do know is that the Lady Kayla won the first E-Class race and One Bahamas took the second. Through the first 2 days, Johannes Martiz of Lyford Key is in the lead, hoping to maintain it through the final day, which is today. And a couple of fun facts. The windy weather yesterday necessitated a Le Mans-style start for the Green Fleet, the youngest sailors in the race, where they had to push their boats into the water and run an altered, much shorter course. And students from Uriah McPhee Primary School are also competing in the regatta, the only government school in the event. Now out there looks like a lot of fun. The closing ceremony is happening right now. You can head out there. You still might be able to take part in the festivities. Now we're going to see what went down on the court on Friday night. Bahamians got in a couple association games last night. Buddy Hield had himself a night, scoring 22 on 8 of 11 shooting, and he made 5 threes along with 3 rebounds and 2 assists off the bench to help his Golden State Warriors secure a 132-108 win over the Sacramento Kings. And Klay Thompson scored 12 points, all on 3-pointers, along with 3 rebounds and 3 assists to help his Dallas Mavericks get a 111-103 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. Before we go, we have a big hoops weekend. The Bahamas is playing Team USA and FIBA America play tomorrow at the Kendall G. Isaacs Gym. Try to get tickets for that if you can. Also, VJ Edgecombe and Baylor will try to get back on track against Colorado, and Coach Joe and the Rebels play Mizzou. That's a wrap for sports this evening. For our sports weekend, I'm Tej Adderley.
Thanks so much, Tej. On the other side of this break, Ian McKinsey steps into the Weather Center. He'll tell you everything you need to know to plan any outdoor weekend activities. And speaking of weather, it was a beautiful morning today as dozens of Cable Bahamas employees took part in the annual Fun Run Walk Push Health Initiative. Our Danielle Miller didn't take part, but she's got a look at all of the winners when Our News Weekend returns.
When the world bid a final farewell to Britain's longest reigning monarch, we were there. A moment of global solemnity that won't soon be forgotten. And when it was time to crown a new king in the first coronation in 50 years, our news was there to the end. These stories shape our view of the world, a view that goes beyond our borders, because our news is all around us. This is our story. This is our news, always there when it counts.
Welcome back and thanks for sticking with us. Beautiful temperatures on the outside of the Our News studios earlier today. As to what you can expect for the remainder of the weekend, well, meteorologist Ian McKenzie has those answers. Ian.
Thanks, Megan, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Saturday evening forecast, where we had a gorgeous day across the country, but currently outside our studios we're under partly cloudy skies with a temperature of 70. Winds are from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Feels like temperature also at 70. Temperatures across the country at this time in our nation's second city, Freeport, we have 68, 67s in Marsh Harbor, 71 in Allenstown, 70s in Nicholstown, and in the capital as well as Governor's Harvey Luther, 69 in Great Harbor Key, Central Bahamas, 71 in Camp Spade, 68 in Georgetown, 73 in Deadman's Key, Long Island, a pair of 70s in Arthurstown and Coburn Towns in Salvador. Southeast Bahamas, we have 76 in Duncantown, a pair of 74s in Colonel Hill and Delectable Bay, Auckland, 77 in Matthewtown, 75 in Abraham's Bay, and 74 in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Satellite and radar imagery at this time. Broad high pressure, dominating weather conditions, stiff breeze across our area. We have that weakening frontal boundary right here across the southeast Bahamas. However, we do expect this high pressure system to slide towards the east in anticipation of a very potent cold front. Boating forecasts across the northwest and central islands at this time. Winds will be northeast-east, 10 to 15, gusting at times. Seas 2 to 4, but up to 11 feet in those northeasterly swells. Low tide at 9:01 p.m. tonight. High tide at 3:41 a.m. tomorrow morning. Southeast Bahamas, small craft advisory in effect as well. A risk for you, rip currents, swimmers. Winds northeast-east, 15 to 25, north seas 5 to 8, but up to 11 feet offshore in those northeasterly swells. In your extended forecast, gorgeous day across the country tomorrow. However, we do anticipate an active cold front to push to our area late Monday into Tuesday. That should trigger some unsettled weather, possibly some flooding across portions of the northwest and central Bahamas. So we just want to advise you persons to take the necessary precautions. Wednesday through Thursday, we're looking pretty good, and throughout the rest of the week, gorgeous conditions. We do expect the cold front to push through on Friday. That should cool things down to end February, entering March. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Thanks so much, Ian. Well, here at Cable Bahamas, high employee morale is crucial to the day-to-day operations, often promoting initiatives that encourage team building and self-development. To that end, hundreds of employees across all islands took part in a little health and wellness fun. Our Danielle Miller has the highlights from this year's Fun Run, Walk, and Push health initiative. Take a look.
This is unique because it's Cable Bahamas. And we are always looking at how we can be the trendsetters.
That's Keisha Knowles, Director of Human Resources at Cable Bahamas Group of Companies, sharing her sentiment on the company's national Fun, Run, Walk, and Push health initiative.
We would like to say that we have this event not only in New Providence, but also in Grand Bahama, as well as all of our islands where we have our team members.
Decked out in color-coordinated house shirts, dozens of executives and team members gathered on Goodman's Bay to participate in the fun. The event, one of many internal initiatives to promote health and wellness, also serves to encourage a family environment. A number of family members joined employees for the event. Keenan Johnson, husband of our Director of Information Security, Shakira Johnson, walking away with a win in the 10K run category.
Happy to be here, happy to support the Sharks.
Also showing an impressive display of athleticism, the members of the Our News team, anchor Megan Shepard placing second, and OB and studio coordinator Joey Butler with a top finish in the 5K walk category. In the 5K run category, Senior Digital Content Manager Ricky Barry taking second, and OB and studio coordinator Raychard Ferguson with first place.
It's a good day to be a Falcon. You know, the Sharks had a lot of mouth, the Dragons had a lot of mouth, but it's a good day to be a Falcon.
It feels disgraceful, and I'm sorry that I didn't do my Sharks proud. However, first in the female 5K category, I think is pretty decent.
As for me, I showed up. Go team. Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
And congratulations to all of this morning's winners. And thank you so much for joining us for our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.